with introducing myself and our business here in Clonmel. So we're actually 5 years old in Clonmel today. So, which I only realised a couple of weeks ago. So I hadn't really marked the date, but we kind of set it for the demonstration, and it just happened that today was the day that we opened. So same kind of nervous energy about opening your shop to people, and hoping that people come in, and same like here tonight, who'll turn up and what it'll be like, and I'll make it easy for myself. But anyway, so a bit about the business. We opened in 2018 with no staff, zero. I was here with Chloe, Mary, Jessica, my partner outside, a couple of other volunteers and friends, and we got it up and running. And today we actually employ 8 people here in the town. So we're really proud of that we've done that in 5 years. The year we opened, it was actually the worst year in recorded history for butchers, with one shop closing a week. So since 2018, we've seen global pandemic, lockdowns, labour crisis, energy crisis, cost of living crisis, and we've gone through all that in 5 years, and we're still here, and the doors open and the lights are on and everything. So we're really happy that we've got that support from people in the town and from outside the town. It's kind of a real humbling experience when you open your doors to people, and I suppose you rely on them for your income. You rely on people to come in out of choice and pick up stuff and support you week on week. So we're really grateful for that. Small businesses are finding it very tough at the moment, so we just would encourage everyone, if they can, whether it be your coffee shop, whether it be your tipper, whether it be whatever, that you're giving that bit of support to local businesses, even if it's only once a week, once a month, whatever you can do. When we open the business, we plan to provide highest quality meat and meat products, all sources locally as possible. So quality of Irish produce is something we're extremely passionate about, and we're proud to be ambassadors of this produce. Every time we open the doors, we're representing Irish beef, pork, lamb, Irish meats, and that's what we're really proud to be ambassadors for that, and to be constantly pushing that. All our beef, pork, lamb is sourced within the counties of Tipperary, Kilkenny or Cork. So we believe in using what's produced on our doorstep and supporting local as much as possible. Just a couple of achievements, I suppose, that we've had in the last few years. We were Tipperary's first member of Butchery Excellence International. We were back-to-back award winners of Best in Retail Tipperary. We won numerous product awards. Tipperary's only butcher with Himalayan salt dry aging, and we're currently Tipperary's only butcher preparing our own in-house sausages. So a few little accolades that we've come across, but I suppose just to let you know that this is the kind of stuff that we're at, and we're constantly pushing to be better and constantly pushing to raise the bar. So a bit about butchers then. The butcher is a connection between the farm and the customer, not just a shop, not just a retail stop. So without the butcher, we don't turn animals to food. So, and that's important, butchers and meat cutters across the board. Butchery is an ancient trade, and the qualification for butchery in Ireland is very hard to achieve. It was only set up actually for butcher sons generally to take over the shop and take over the business, but we actually have 3 fully qualified butchers in this shop on a weekly basis. So most butchers, very few. These lads are few and far between. Jamie is one of them here, and we're currently training 2 butchers as well. We have Jared there as well, and we have Kieran. So they're all junior butchers that started out with us. I suppose just to emphasise that meat is an important part of our life and industry in Ireland. People don't realise the impact that it has on the economy. Like the export from beef, we're world renowned for it. We're lucky that we have these really, really world-class standards on our doorstep in our country, and we should be really proud of that. So if you go and live in another country for a while, you realise that the quality of what we have here in this country, we take it for granted. So again, look, we're really proud just to be championing that. And first of all, thanks everyone for coming. Again, it's something we haven't done before, so we didn't really know what kind of reaction we were going to get. But we got a good reaction. People are interested, and people are more interested in their food and everything. So we're going to do a small beef demonstration today, we're going to do a small lamb demonstration, and then we're going to do a small pork demonstration. So Jamie's going to help me with some of the cutting here today. So we're going to do the beef first. So this is what we would call a sirloin of beef, which is the rump, the strip line, and the fillet steak all together. So when we generally age them on the bone like that for a minimum of 28 days, up to 40 days. So we age them in the ager there, and we often break the rump off the line because it's just too awkward to handle like that. So when the beef is slaughtered in the abattoir, it's hung for a couple of days, it's sent out to the butchers or to the processors or whatever, and generally these cuts, which would be the primal cuts that you get steaks of, they're aged for a longer period of time. There is no real benefit in aging the more tough cuts, we'd say, so the likes of stuff that's used for stew, mince, burger production, even steak stir fries or anything like that. There's no real benefit to maturing those for 30-40 days. Once they hit about 28 days, they've reached maximum tenderness. So that's as much as you're going to get out of it. After that, when we're aging it in the ager, it's about adding flavour. So what we're doing is constantly dehydrating the meat, pulling all the water out of the beef, which gives a more intense beef flavour. So that's what dry aging is in a simple way. So Jamie's going to show you a few bits there now, right? So the first thing we're doing when we're breaking this down is we remove the fillet. So the fillet sits on the inside of the backbone here. Fillet is so tender because that muscle is left and it does nothing. It just sits there. And beef, the more work a beef muscle does, the tougher it will be. So this muscle does nothing. It literally just sits there on the inside of the line. Whereas you see this muscle here, and you can see all the different layers to it and everything. That's what we call the rump. That does a lot of lifting with the back leg. So that's a tougher meat. But as I said, the fillet just sits there, and that's why it's a very tender meat. We find that the fillet sometimes wouldn't be as flavoursome as the working muscles. So the fillet is very tender, but can lack a little bit of flavour. People often cook it very rare because they want that beefy flavour in the middle. If it's cooked anything over medium, we would say that the flavour is poor. Like it doesn't. It can be dry. So Jamie has that out now. You'll see some of the rib bones that go down. Yeah. No pressure, Jamie.
So you gave me this job.
Oh yeah. I did the talking, he did the cut. So that's the fillet now. And again, look, we get a lot of farmers in the shop, and often they'd say to you that the price of beef and everything, and understandable, we have to support our farmers. Without them, we don't have this product. But what a lot of people don't realise is the waste that's on this. I mean, you can see all this fat here is more or less no good. And when we trim this down, even this chain here comes off, which again won't make a good steak. So we trim it so we just get this nice barrel of fillet. So that's why the price jumps so much. And you'll see as well when Jamie takes off the rump here that the amount of bone that's on the animal, like you lose about 37% of the weight in bone. You lose about half the weight at slaughter. So what you get in saleable meat at the end is actually quite small in comparison. So there's a hip bone there, similar to your own hip bone, where we'd say your bone meets your back. There's a hip bone there, and that's what Jamie has gone down through. And he's just gone down through there and he's taken the rump off. The rump is actually my favourite cut of beef. So, because it's so versatile, it can be used for a lot of different things. It can be used for quick frying, it can be used for stroganoffs, stir fries, and in recent times, I suppose Irish butchers have educated themselves on beef, because we would have been fairly one-dimensional in the way we cut things. So we would have always traditionally cut this like that, full muscle. But these days, we're learning from our friends in South America and across Europe that there's many different ways to cut a rump. And it has, as I said, multi-layers. So when we seam it out and break it down, you can see all the different types of muscles that are in it. So that bone is a fairly smooth bone on the inside. Should come out very easy, like.
Pressure.
Yeah. All right, Jamie, take your time, mate.
And Kevin, doing the trimming that you take off the fillet there, what would you do with those typically?
So it depends on what it is. Like certain types of fat can be used for burger production.
Yeah.
Some types of fat then are just too greasy or too, there could be like hard sinewy bits in them that we wouldn't use. That type of fat is often sold for pet food actually. So now we generally wouldn't have that much here, but in the abattoirs and stuff that are slaughtering a lot of animals, the pet food side of it is actually a huge industry. So they do a lot of that. But any of these good cuts, we'd obviously use for burgers, meatballs, that kind of thing. So all this fat, again, it's devaluing this piece of meat, so we have to take it off, because if you were to cook that as it is, it just wouldn't be a pleasant steak. So Jamie's just trimming out any excess fat off the back there, and we'll show you the few different muscles that are within this one muscle. So again, traditionally, when I started my time as an apprentice, and same with Jamie there, we would have just sliced this straight across, and that would have been your frying steak that you would have gotten the butchers anywhere. So it would have just been sliced straight across like that. But we actually break it down in the shop into smaller pieces. So this muscle that Jamie's taken off, there's actually a seam there, and it's only connected through some connective tissue. So when he takes that off, we would have always called that the rump cap, but in South America and a lot of other places they're calling it the cana. And it's actually one of the most valuable cuts in South America. And it was a cut that up to 10 years ago we couldn't sell. You know, it was a thing that went for stir fry or whatever. But we're finding, I suppose, with the internet now and people able to watch cooking videos and TikTok and all these kind of things, that people are learning how to prepare these. And it's a big thing with barbecue enthusiasts. So again, we trim this now again, and we take off this layer of fat here. We leave that fat on the back. That's a good fat for cooking. It'll render down as it's been cooked. But that's what is really, really popular in South America and places like that, or anywhere that's doing a lot of charcoal cooking. It cooks lovely. They generally cook it in a piece, or actually skewer it and cut it in nice chunky pieces. Again, cooking it to like a medium rare, and it comes out beautiful. So that one then as well, so that's a little one that we call the bistro fillet. So because when you slice it, it actually looks a bit like fillet steaks. So that's them there actually. So they're ones that we done here earlier today. So what we do then, we trim all this excess fat off, roll it in thin film, and we slice them into 6-ounce steaks. Do 4 of them for $10.99, they're very good value. Just getting it in there. But that's probably the most naturally tender cut of that. That's really, really tender, and again, it cooks very well. That'd be one that we'd use often at home now. It's really nice. So this then is the main part of the rump, which has the most kind of pieces to it and different layers to it. So this here is what we call the rump tail, and again in America they call it tri-tip, which again 10 years ago I was working in a butcher shop. Someone been asking me for tri-tip, I hadn't a clue what they're looking for. But again, it's the internet, I suppose. We're learning all these things, and we're self-educating ourselves a little in it. That in the States is very popular, cooked in a piece. Now American beef is generally much bigger, and one of them would feed kind of 3 people generally, and they cook it on the barbecue, slice it into pieces and serve it out that way. That's the main part of our rump then. So that's what we sell in the counter for our sirloin steaks. So we just slice that across the grain, and you'll see then that's our steak that we sell here in the counter, and we sell that per kilo. Again, very, very suitable for stir fries or for frying in general, like lovely steak and onions kind of thing. Traditional kind of a steak cut. So that's the rump broken down anyway. And if you want to just trim that one up, Jamie, right, the rump cap there. And I'll get rid of that bone out of your way, alright?
Yep.
I'm very helpful. So that silver skin, when you cook that, that'll be very tough. So that has to come off. And again, when we were cutting those years ago, cutting them straight across the grain, that's why the rump or the sirloin steak would have sometimes been seen as a tough steak and not the most desirable of cuts. So again, we're doing all this on a daily basis, and we often sell those in a piece. We have a couple of customers that come in and look specifically for them. So they're looking for those for their barbecues or they want to slice them up themselves and cook them whatever way they do them, you know. That's it. Very good for marinating as well. It takes marinades very well. So we've often done this with like a chimichurri marinade. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or made one or anything like that, but Jessica's gone running. She not only knows how to make it, but we actually made up some today, so I think she's going to cook off a couple of steaks there and get you to try it. It's really nice. It's a real fresh, herby. It's made with olive oil, chili, coriander, parsley, and it's lovely with those kind of steaks. Again, just don't overcook them because they don't take to it too well. But this portion of it actually will. You can cook that well done and that's fine. So this then is the strip line, which is probably the most commonly sold steak in Ireland. It's the one that, it's the go-to, particularly for people who are a little bit nervous of steak or a little bit unsure of what they might be cooking. So they often go in and just ask for a strip line as a kind of a default. But it's a very nice steak. As you'll see, Jamie's just taking out a small portion there just to show you going it out. It can be a little bit tricky because there is little kind of notches in the bone inside where Jamie is cutting there now, and it can be a little bit tricky to get around them. And if you're working in a meat factory, you'll be kind of judged on that. That's kind of the standard of how good you are, how much meat you get out of that. But in a butcher shop where you're not doing those huge volumes, it's not such a big deal. We prefer to get a good quality steak and have it trimmed right, because the customer really doesn't want that meat that's in there anyway. You know, because when they come into us, we buy them in and they're boned like that, we end up trimming them off anyway, so it's not really a concern for us. So that's your strip line then. Again, trim on the outside. Most people don't like too much fat. The far end there where Jamie's left hand is, that's where the strip line runs into the rib, and you can nearly see the rib starting to form there. So the back line is just a continuation all the way into the rib, and then it goes from the rib into the chuck. So I can show you a rib there. So you can see that's the rib then. So you can see where that piece of meat will meet into this one, and we break this one then. We generally take off 5 bone ribs and we take it off that end there. So that's it's a continuation, but the rib has a bit more fat going through it, a bit more marrow going through it, and a lot of people go for that one for maximum flavour. So, and again, that steak, when you do the rib in a steak, it's very, very forgiving. I mean, you can literally cremate it and it'll still taste like heaven. Whereas a lot of the leaner cuts don't take that much cooking.
Which fats are better? Which fats can you leave on? How do you know which fats you leave on that will dissolve and which fats will?
Well, like these fats from the inside of the line there, they're not good. So the fats generally from the outside of the animal, these ones, they're fats that render down really well. So as soon as you expose them to a high heat, they'll start to render down. This inner fat, or this kind of duxy fat, we call it.
That's connective tissue.
Correct. Yes. So that will be chewy or stringy, or might even be a little bit gristly. It could be a bit of it can ball up even when it cooks, similar to like a string balling up, and it can actually get a little bit, the texture isn't pretty to it. So that outer fat is generally the best for anything like that you're looking for, mince or anything. But when you have these lads, like as I said, that runs into your rib and then runs into your chuck. So all that muscle is a continuation into the chuck. So that's why chucks are known for their really good properties for mincing and for burgers and things. And that's because you have that muscle running into that. And that's why you get a really good fat content in those muscles. Okay? Any questions on that one? No? She's all very quiet. So that's as I said, the sirloin of beef broken down. Pushed on time. We can trim that up if you wanted to see it, but I mean, if you get the general idea, no.
You know the aging, the salt age?
Yeah.
Can you tell by the colour of the beef after you're cooked then if it's been aged?
You can, yeah. Like if you have meat that's very fresh, it'll be very bright pink, bright red.
Okay.
Meat that's been aged for a while, as I said, because the water content has come out of it, it naturally darkens and you get a kind of a ruby red. is what we'd be looking for. And when it's at that ruby red stage, that's when it's really good. Now when you're aging the beef, like you will get a crust on the outside of it, which is perfectly normal and perfectly fine, but that isn't used. That's actually waste. So we bone that out like Jamie did there, and we cut that off. That is discarded because that crust has developed from bacteria, but because of the chamber that we have, it doesn't allow it to penetrate through the meat. So because of the purifying with the salt age, with the Himalayan salt, and it's humidity controlled. Whereas if you were to age that in just normal cold room, you would find the beef get all sticky, and it's just the whole thing it actually starts to decay more so than age. So that's why we have a purpose-built chamber for aging. Yeah. Any more on that? All good? Nothing? Very good. Excellent. Okay, we get that cleared away, so, and we get lamb out.
Oh yeah.
The tray there. Thanks everyone for coming out for our demonstration. As I said, we're celebrating 5 years here in Clonmel in the Showground Shopping Centre. Thanks to everyone for coming. We hope you had a good night, and be sure to give us your feedback and let us know anything that you want to know in future. Thanks very much.
Where secrets lie in the border fires and the humming wires. Yeah, man, you know you're never coming back. Past the square, past the bridge, past the mills, past the stacks. On a gathering storm comes a tall, handsome man in a dusty black coat with a red right hand. He'll wrap you in his arms, tell you that you've been a good boy. He'll rekindle all the dreams that took you a lifetime to destroy. He'll reach deep into the hole, heal your shrinking soul, but there won't be a single thing that you can do. He's a god, he's a man, he's a ghost, he's a guru. They're whispering his name through this disappearing land, but hidden in his coat is a red right hand. You don't owe no money, get you some. You don't have no car, get you one. You don't have no self-respect, you feel like an insect. Well, don't you worry, buddy, cause here he comes through the ghettos and the barrio and the barry and the slum. His shadow is cast wherever he stands, stacks of green paper in his red right hand.